In the early days of Israel's monarchy, one man stood taller than the rest: Saul, Israel's first king. Chosen, anointed, crowned. But what begins in glory does not always end in peace. As Saul's throne began to tremble, as jealousy consumed him, as war raged between his house and the rising house of David, there were lives caught in the middle. Not warriors, not kings, not prophets, but a woman whose name is mentioned briefly, yet whose life was shaped by political rivalry, broken promises, and public grief. Merab, Princess of Israel. Born into royalty, married into conflict, used as instruments in a battle between two men. It is the story of what happens to women when power shifts, when politics invade family, when love becomes strategy. This is the tragic story of a daughter of Saul. According to 1 Samuel chapter 14 verse 49, the name of Saul's sons were Jonathan, Ishvi, and Malchishua. His older daughter was Merab, and that of the younger was Michal. But our focus is on the life of Merab and the events that impacted her. In the time when Israel was at war with Philistines, and the Philistines had Goliath as a warrior in their army, David left the flock in the care of a shepherd, loaded up ephah of roasted grain and 10 loaves of bread for his 3 brothers in the Israelite army, and set out, as his father had directed. He reached the camp as the army was going out to its battle positions, shouting the war cry. Meanwhile, King Saul promised his daughter to anyone who was able to defeat Goliath. 1 Samuel 17 verse 25 to 27. Now the Israelites had been saying, "Do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt his family from taxes in Israel." David asked the men standing near him, "What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" They repeated to him what they had been saying and told him, "This is what will be done for the man who kills him." David took on the challenge and defeated Goliath. King Saul was happy at first, but he grew bitterly jealous of David because of all the victories he had on battlefield, the fact that the people love and sing David's praise more than his praise. So he devised a plan. 1 Samuel 18 verse 17 to 18, Saul said to David, "Here is my older daughter Merab. I will give her to you in marriage. Only serve me bravely and fight the battles of the Lord." For Saul said to himself, "I will not raise a hand against him. Let the Philistines do that." But David said to Saul, "Who am I, and what is my family or my clan in Israel, that I should become the king's son-in-law?" So when the time came for Merab, Saul's daughter, to be given to David, she was given in marriage to Adriel of Meholah. The message in the passage shows that King Saul saw his daughter as a bargaining chip, even if it was for his devious reason. Merab went on to conceive 5 sons, but they all had a tragic end, the end which started when King Saul tried to annihilate the Gibeonites. The Gibeonites were a group of people who lived in the land of Canaan. During the conquest of Canaan under Joshua, the Gibeonites deceived the Israelites into making a peace treaty with them, as recorded in Joshua 9. Joshua chapter 9 verse 1 to 21. Now when news of this reached all the kings west of the Jordan, those in the hill country, the foothills, and all along the coast of the Great Sea toward Lebanon, the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. They came together to wage war against Joshua and Israel, but the people of Gibeon, having heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, acted deceptively and set out as envoys, carrying on their donkeys worn-out sacks and old wineskins, cracked and mended. They put worn, patched sandals on their feet and threadbare clothing on their bodies, and their whole supply of bread was dry and moldy. They went to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal and said to him and the men of Israel, "We have come from a distant land. Please make a treaty with us." But the men of Israel said to the Hivites, "Perhaps you dwell near us. How can we make a treaty with you?" "We are your servants," they said to Joshua. Then Joshua asked them, "Who are you and where have you come from?" "Your servants have come from a very distant land," they replied, "because of the fame of the Lord your God. For we have heard the reports about him, all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites beyond the Jordan, Sihon king of Heshbon and Og king of Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth. And our elders and all those living in our country said to us, 'Take provisions for your journey. Go to meet them and say to them, "We are your servants. Please make a treaty with us." This bread of ours was warm when we packed it at home on the day we left to come to you. But look, it is now dry and moldy. These wineskins were new when we filled them. But look, they are cracked. And these clothes and sandals are worn out from our very long journey." Then the men of Israel sampled their provisions, but did not seek the counsel of the Lord. And Joshua made a treaty of peace with them to let them live, and the leaders of the congregation swore an oath to them. 3 days after they had made the treaty with the Gibeonites, the Israelites learned that they were neighbors living among them. So the Israelites set out and on the third day arrived at their cities, Gibeon, Kephra, Beeroth, and Kiriath-Jearim. But the Israelites did not attack them, because the leaders of the congregation had sworn an oath to them by the Lord, the God of Israel. And the whole congregation grumbled against the leaders. All the leaders answered, "We have sworn an oath to them by the Lord, the God of Israel, and now we cannot touch them. This is how we will treat them. We will let them live, so that no wrath will fall on us because of the oath we swore to them." They continued, "Let them live, but let them be woodcutters and water carriers for the whole congregation." So the leaders kept their promise. This covenant was honored for generations. However, during Saul's reign, he violated this covenant by attempting to annihilate the Gibeonites. The specific reasons for Saul's actions are not detailed in the biblical text, but it is clear that his actions were seen as a grave offense against the covenant made before God. Years after Saul's death, during the reign of King David, Israel experienced a severe famine that lasted for 3 years. Seeking the Lord's guidance, David learned that the famine was a result of Saul's bloodshed against the Gibeonites. The Lord said, "It is because of Saul and his blood-stained house, because he put the Gibeonites to death." 2 Samuel 21 verse 1. To atone for Saul's sin and lift the famine, David sought to make amends with the Gibeonites. The Gibeonites requested that 7 male descendants of Saul be handed over to them to be executed. David agreed, sparing only Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, due to his covenant with Jonathan. 2 Samuel 21 verse 7. David handed over 2 sons of Saul's concubine Rizpah, Armani and Mephibosheth, and 5 sons of Saul's daughter Merab, whom she had borne to Adriel. These 7 were put to death by the Gibeonites and exposed on a hill before the Lord as a form of retributive justice. 2 Samuel 21 verses 8-9. Rizpah, the mother of 2 of the executed sons, displayed a poignant act of mourning and protection over the bodies, preventing birds and wild animals from desecrating them. Her actions moved David to retrieve the bones of Saul and Jonathan from Jabesh Gilead and give them a proper burial along with the bones of the 7 sons. 2 Samuel 21 verses 10-14. This act of atonement and the subsequent burial appeased God, and he responded to the plea for the land, ending the famine. The narrative underscores the seriousness with which God regards covenants and the necessity of justice and atonement for wrongdoing. Losing 5 sons because of what her father did wrong in the past is absolutely tragic, yet the Bible says almost nothing more about her. Merab appears only briefly in the biblical record, first as a princess promised in marriage, then as a wife given to another man, and finally as a mother whose sons would die to settle a debt from a previous generation. History remembers kings and warriors, but behind the rise and fall of kingdoms were lives like hers, lives shaped by decisions they never made. Merab was born a daughter of Israel's first king, Saul, yet the story of her life reminds us that the consequences of power, pride, and broken covenants rarely stop with those who commit them. Sometimes they reach the next generation, and sometimes the next. In the shadows of Israel's early monarchy, the life of Merab stands as a quiet but powerful reminder. Even in the stories of kings, the deepest tragedies are often carried by those people history barely remembers. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel for more Bible knowledge. God bless you.